Good morning. Good to see you all. I just wanted to center a bit on our safety protocols. Start by looking around yourselves. We really should be 6 feet apart unless you're in a family pod or a friend pod. So look behind you, in front of you, and shift just to maximize the space that we can put between ourselves in this gorgeous, beautiful sanctuary. Again, we're asking you to wear your mask on the nose, cover your mouths. As the weather grows colder, we're going to continue to keep the windows open, but adjustments to the outside door may be necessary from time to time as weather conditions change. Being safe is an evolving and dynamic practice, so please pay attention to our newsletter and our modifications and updates. Being safe together in this community is a job we all share.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Linda Susan. I serve this congregation as the minister. My pronouns are they, them, and it is my pleasure to introduce or reintroduce this element known as living our values every day, where someone from one of our social justice groups talks a little bit about what's going on and how you can get involved. And so this morning, I'd like to welcome Nancy Brown from the Immigration and Refugee Task Force.
Thank you. The goals of our task force are to provide direct practical support to immigrants and refugees, to partner with immigrant-led organizations, and to advocate on legislative issues of concern to immigrants. We try to identify and publicize opportunities for the congregation to become involved in these efforts. Let me describe some of our recent activities. Maybe you would like to find a way to become part of this ongoing work. Several of our members are helping with the resettlement of Afghan refugee families. The families are sponsored by IRIS, the Area Refugee Resettlement Agency, and when they arrive, IRIS needs to have apartments that are move-in ready. So far, the USNH Social Justice Council has spearheaded the setup of 2 apartments, and a third one will be set up in January. Thanks to the generosity of USNH people and friends of the congregation, the apartments have been fully furnished and equipped with everything that a family needs for a functioning home. Volunteers will be needed in January to clean, move in furniture, and get the kitchen, bathroom, and living areas set up. So please watch for notices in the USNH newsletter about that. And something really important, IRIS is desperately short of housing units to apartments. So if you know of any low-cost rentals, please get in touch with them. They're at irisct.org. The need is acute. Recently, New Start Ministry, an interfaith group of volunteers, has asked for our help in resettling an Afghan family they are co-sponsoring in Waterbury. IRTF people volunteer as English tutors, school liaisons, drivers, and employment specialists. That family needs a lot of assistance, and more helpers would be welcome. For more than a decade, we have tutored weekly ESOL classes, English for speakers of other languages. The students are at a survival or basic level of English, and all are from Spanish-speaking countries. Our classes used to be in person, but because of COVID since May 2020, they have been on Zoom. Sophie Torkowski, Peter Schwartz, and I are tutors at this point, and I'd like to quote Sophie's words here about her experience. In the time we spend together, we learn about each other, our cultural similarities and differences, our hopes and fears, and our biases. We tell our stories. One might think that Zoom teaching would be less personal than face-to-face. However, this has not been my experience. We are virtually coming into each other's homes, meeting family members, learning about daily routines and rituals, family celebrations, and health concerns. This process has enriched our discussions and built trust within the group. During the past few years, Black Lives Matter discussions and protests, white bias readings, and the UUA's proposal of an eighth principle have challenged me to rethink my lesson plans, expand the class readings, and listen intentionally. Because of the trusting relationships we have established, we are beginning to have more direct questions and discussions. We are curious about each other, and we are evolving. I am grateful to USNH and the Immigration and Refugee Task Force and its members for creating real opportunities for me to have these experiences. My involvement with immigrants and refugees in the greater New Haven area is the gift I give to myself. Those are inspirational words from Sophie. So if any of these activities sound interesting to you, and I hope that they do, please get in touch with me or with Sophie, and we will find a way for you to get involved. Thank you.
Turning always into morning, and from morning into night. Round and round the earth is turning, round and round the earth is turning, turning morning into night, and from morning into night. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always into morning, and from morning into night, and from morning into night.
Good morning, and welcome. I guess good morning again. Never can be too many. And welcome to the Unitarian Society of New Haven. My name is Lisa Anderson. My pronouns are she, hers. And I'm a member of the worship committee. We extend a warm and joyful welcome to all who gather here in person and by streaming, and especially to those who are joining us for the first time. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. We are a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires love, lives of compassion, and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. Today is our solstice service. Perhaps this morning we could also welcome darkness. Instead of focusing on the return of longer days and more light, let's celebrate darkness for what it brings to our lives. A Theology of Darkness, writes the Reverend Dr. Kristen Harper in this month's UU World, is a way to dismantle racist language and allows us to turn to darkness for a practice of rest, regeneration, and healing. I also wanted to mention that our indomitable administrator, Jamie, has been struggling with a respiratory ailment, not COVID. So if there's a gap in communication with her, that's why. Jamie, we are sending you love and hope to see you soon. Now a few announcements. The regifting sale is awesome. If you haven't been, you really should go. I was raised on bargains, so just saying. The children will be guided in their shopping for family if that's something of interest to people. And the cause is the money goes to our social justice ministry, so that's important. Wanted to mention that our Christmas Eve service will be at 7 p.m. on Friday night. And Naomi had a really joyful announcement, a joy to share. The Waverly Christmas party, she said, was amazing. She has photos and a video to prove it. And she's going to be collecting cards for the kids. That will continue until Christmas, I believe. Naomi, there she is. Now, if you're new to USNH, maybe to Unitarian Universalism, the membership team would like to help you get acquainted. We host a visitors chat right after the service, and that will be at a table outside. So now, let us settle into worship. The call to worship comes from Jan Richardson, a poem, Blessing for the Longest Night. All throughout these months, as the shadows have lengthened, this blessing has been gathering itself, making ready, preparing for this night. It has practiced walking in the dark, traveling with its eyes closed, feeling its way by memory, by touch, by the pull of the moon, even as it wanes. So believe me when I tell you, this blessing will reach you even if you have not light enough to read it. It will find you even though you cannot see it coming. So when this blessing comes, take its hand. Get up. Set out on the road you cannot see. This is the night we can trust that any direction you go, you will be walking toward the dawn. Every solstice is an arc of an infinite spiral. Every movement is a matter of will. Every sunset is a solemn vow. And every sunrise, that vow is fulfilled. Every rest, every dream is an unlit match. Every act of kindness is a flame. Every year we spin around until the next one ignites, yet it's somehow never the same. Our chalice is lit.
Covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we fall short of our aspirations. Each week, we recite together a brief version of our covenant. I encourage you to read the full covenant on our website because it is actually really quite beautiful. While the following words express our intentions in writing, our true covenant lives and breathes in our actions. So please join me now in reciting the words that appear in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. Together, let us say, We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, seek humor and joy.
Can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end? Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin? And I'm telling you, can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end. Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin. Oh, in this world of trouble and woe, a person has got to be ready to go. We look for things to stay the same, but in the twinkling of an eye, everything can be changed. And I'm telling you, can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end. Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin. Oh, the troubles of this world fill our hearts with rage. Soweto to Stonewall, Birmingham to LA. We look for the hope that lies within ourselves as we fight against misogyny, race hatred, and AIDS. And I'm telling you, can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end. Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin. And I'm telling you, can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end. Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin.
In today's world, the annual winter solstice, the shortest day and longest night, is sometimes barely even noticed. At worst, it's sometimes seen as a mild inconvenience. The orbit of each planet around the sun is, these days, well documented. And we can literally set our clocks by it and synchronize our calendars by it. Because of this, we take winter's arrival for granted. And we know that in the coming months, the days will slowly get longer. Spring and summer will arrive, followed by another fall, another winter, and on and on. It's only everything else in the world that seems uncertain. So perhaps, as we struggle to make sense of the uncertainties of today's world, a global pandemic that drags closer to a second year, climate change, people set against each other for so many reasons, perhaps we can today notice the solstice a little bit more and invite ourselves to imagine what it must have been like when the modern certainty about orbits seasons, and Earth's 23-degree angle relative to the sun were not well understood. When the coming of each summer was as uncertain as the coming of this mythological herd immunity we keep hearing so much about. Perhaps by listening to the story of how people came to have faith in the cycles of time and the balance of light and dark, we can find some comfort and balance as these modern uncertainties unfold around us. For such a story, let us turn first to the Jewish scriptures, to a tale retold by Sandy Sasso in her book, Adam and Eve's First Sunset. The sun was sinking beneath the clouds, falling behind the mountains, going down behind the eagles' nests. The sky became darker, and the air became colder. Perhaps the sun is tired, thought Adam. You can rest on my shoulders, he told the sun. Perhaps the sun is just sad, thought Eve. I'll sing you a song, she said to the sun. Here comes the sun, la-da-da-da. I'm not sure if that song is part of the original story. It just might be apocryphal. Adam was certain he could bring back the sun. Eve was sure she could convince the sun to return. But the sun sank lower and lower in the sky. The light of day was waning. Adam and Eve turned their faces to the sky and then yelled at the sun, God said that we're the ones in charge. You have to listen to us. But their words didn't matter. The sun kept sinking further and further in the sky. Adam and Eve folded their arms across their chests. It's your fault that the sun is leaving, Adam blamed Eve. You don't care enough about the sun. You're always sitting in the shade, Eve accused Adam right back. You always take the sun for granted. I never hear you thank the sun for its light and warmth. And while they argued, the sun was sliding down in the sky. Down, down, down it went until its red-orange glow faded into the west. Eve turned to Adam. Without the sun, the plants can't grow. Well, the planets either, I imagine. Without the sun, the plants can't grow. Do something to bring back the sun or else we'll die, she pleaded. Adam turned to Eve. Without the sun, the animals won't find food. Say something to make the sun return or the world will surely end. But the sun didn't listen to them. If the sun won't listen, then perhaps God will hear us, said Eve. After all, said Adam, God created the sun, right? Adam and Eve sat down beneath the trees in the garden. As the sky turned to midnight, their eyes began to feel heavy. Together they whispered a prayer. Creator of light, do not let your world grow dark. Help us bring back the sun. Make morning again. Adam and Eve looked down at the ground and they noticed dried brown branches and smooth black rocks that they'd never paid attention to in the day. Adam took one rock and Eve another. They began to rub the rocks together, and after a little while, sparks lit the branches at their feet. The night had taught them to make fire. The fire warmed them, but it didn't make the plants grow. It didn't last very long. Adam and Eve made another fire, and it brought some light to the midnight sky. But it did not bring back the sun. The earth became cold and dark. I don't think I can take care of it, admitted Adam. I don't think I can fix it, sighed Eve. Once again they prayed, Creator of light, make it morning again. But again there was no answer. Adam and Eve were afraid of the dark. It was cold. The stars in the sky looked like droplets of ice. Adam and Eve huddled close together. They fell asleep, waiting for the world to end. But then it happened. The eagles awoke in their nests. The sun blushed in the east. A pink glow wrapped around the mountains and winked behind the clouds. The sky turned purple and then blue. A rooster crowed, announcing morning at last. Adam and Eve awoke to watch the sun paint the sky with light, the light wrapped around them like a robe of gold. Adam and Eve rubbed the sleep from their eyes. The setting sun was not the end of the world after all. It had only been the coming of night. They could brighten the night by making fire and by staying together. And now it was the beginning of a new day. They gave thanks for the morning sun and for the rooster's call. They gave thanks for both day and night, for light and dark, and every day when the wings of morning lifted the sun in the sky, they blessed that day. And every evening when the sun set, they blessed the night as well.
So we remember today all those in the Philippines who died in the Super Typhoon Ray. And we remember those as well in the U.S. who died in our recent tornadoes. May their loved ones find some kind of solace amidst their losses. While we didn't receive any particular joys and sorrows from this community to be shared today, let's take a moment to bear witness to that what the people of this congregation are holding in their hearts. Together, let us give thanks for this community of care.
I invite you to get comfortable in your bodies. Maybe take a deep breath, nice relaxed breath. Today, as part of our meditation, I'd like us to honor the darkness for winter solstice. You can close your eyes if you like, or let your focus go soft. Imagine spiraling inward towards your center, that place of balance within you. What is it like to be held by the dark? Are you comforted? Scared? Curious? Imagine stars beginning to emerge from the night sky. What do they show you? Imagine a chill wind flowing across your face. What news does it bring? Whatever you've learned can come back with you. So offer thanks to the darkness and the stars and to the wind. Then follow the spiral back outward to the room where you now sit. And when you're ready, open your eyes once more. Blessed be. Got to figure out this new pulpit arrangement. There we go. So darkness and money have something in common. They both get a bad rap. The language of darkness is too often associated with negativity and evil, which not only undermines its gifts, like the safety of a mother's womb or the backdrop of seeing stars, but also affects how people with dark skin are treated, as Lisa mentioned earlier. Money is treated as a taboo, a topic that we're not supposed to talk about in polite company, while in reality, money is just a tool that we can use in support of our values. When we keep it off limits, we give money power over us. When we talk about it openly, though, we reclaim our power to wield that tool wisely. This congregation depends on your generosity for everything we do, from religious education classes to our work with refugee families that we heard about this morning, to these weekly worship services and everything in between. So I encourage you to make as generous a donation as you can, whether dropping it in the plate at the end of the service, for those of you here in the sanctuary, or giving through our website at usnh.org, or sending a check to USNH, 700 Hartford Turnpike, Hamden, Connecticut, 06517. So thank you for all the ways that you give to this community.
Okay, so here's what we know about winter solstice so far. It's a time of long nights and short days. We learned from our friends Adam and Eve in the last story that even on those long nights, the day does eventually follow. But let's take a moment now, if you will, to imagine ourselves with them there in that garden on that long first night. Join me for a moment as we step outside the glow of their small fire and experience a cold winter night as it truly is. A festival of stars. A time of deep and perhaps dream-filled sleep for turtles and bears, frogs, and so many others. But just as our friends over there by the fire are processing their fear of the lost sunlight and warm afternoon breezes, we come across a few others who are themselves just waking up, stretching, and relaxing into a place of comfort. For in this garden, there aren't only people. There are also possums, skunks, wolves, and owls. There are foxes and bats, raccoons and mice, and where were they during the day? They were hidden far out of sight and mind. What kind of fear and anxiety might the long day and short night of summer hold for these beautiful creatures? As we wander among them in our mind's garden, we see the winter change their coats to match the ground around them. We see the rise of the moon guide and call them the way a warm summer afternoon at the beach calls to us in July. It is by following their silent footfalls that we learn the rhythm within the rhythm of life. Just as a drummer learns that the spaces between the hits on a drum are as important as the hits themselves, we learn from deer and mink that the absence of light is as important to the rhythm of life as the presence of it. Let us follow the red fox for a while. Come follow with me. She eases out of her den at dusk, grateful for, not afraid of the setting sun. She eases her way into the woods at the garden's edge. She sees little, but she hears everything. Our breath, our shuffling feet on the ground. She is so much better at this than we are. Her feet make no sound, never touching twigs or leaves. She smells food deep beneath the crisp snow. She senses the tiniest vibrations and can pounce with pinpoint precision. She doesn't always eat what she catches right away, but hides it in vaults of her own making. In case the coming days don't provide the same bounty as today has, she pauses often to breathe in the crisp night air, and she revels in her invisibility. She shows us how much we can learn from the times that seem bitter and devoid of all the usual signs of hope. Yet watching her, we cannot help but wonder if we're missing out on something. What can we learn by leaning into our lives' long winter nights just a little bit more? When sadness or sickness, fear or division make the long winter nights seem longer or darker, we follow Fox's example and learn to adapt. She can't see color, but she can follow movement in almost total darkness. Can we find such movement hidden in the shadows of the very things that bog us down? Can we use this enhanced vision to learn to follow the dance of hidden hope that grows out of every tragedy that confronts us? Fox hears the rustle of a single buried leaf, She recognizes the rhythm of a distant heartbeat. She feels the song of life's hidden treasures in the vibrations of her whiskers. I wonder, can we, in this wintertime, find the subtle songs that we missed before when we were filling the air around us with cries for the sun? If we settle into the here and now, can we tune our ears and skin to the frequencies of crystalline water and the whoosh of owl wings? Oh, what a song it is if we really, truly listen. Yes, good times are coming. Yes, the sun will rise and the plants will grow and the flowers will unfurl like slow motion fireworks. But good times are also here right now, beneath all that is frozen, ringing in the darkness. Fox looks up and we follow her gaze just in time to see a meteor streak across the sky. And we feel called to wish, to hope, to dream, not for tomorrow, but for this moment right now, to teach us all it can before it fades into all that is yet to come.
sweet and warm inside your heart. Now that the year is turning, feel how the year is turning.
While Adam and Eve made their fires and worried about whether the sun would ever return, while the red fox awoke and stretched her body and began her hunt for breakfast, unseen beneath the ground, a seed for a redwood tree was also stirring. It loved the darkness of the rich soil, its cozy seedbed bundled all around it. The seed wasn't sure what might happen next, but it knew that this was a time of waiting. The darkness provided a place where the seed could be nourished and supported during its tender beginnings. At night, the seed dreamed of what the future might hold. Would it grow 100 feet towards the sky? Would it have a circle of companions ringing a mother tree? Or would it get crowded out before its roots could take hold? Around the dawn of the new day, the seed felt a change in the ground. The comforting darkness remained, but sunlight warmed the ground. How did the sun know that that was just what the seed needed to start its next phase of growth? The seed felt emboldened to imagine itself as part of a grove of redwoods, standing tall for centuries, just as so many of its forebears had. It could envision itself guarding a sacred lake held in the silence of the forest. Perhaps one day its own pine cones would launch a new generation of trees. A delicate tendril began to push outward, wanting to shrug off the seed's coat, but it wasn't strong enough yet. And that was okay. The seed reminded itself that this was still a time of waiting. Darkness and light needed to be in balance for the magic to happen. The cycle of life needed time. The seed wasn't sure what might happen next, but it didn't need to know right now. It had faith that its journey had begun.
Light is returning, even though it is the darkest hour. No one can hold back the dawn. Let's keep it burning, let's keep the flame of hope alive. Make safe our journey through the storm. Our planet is turning, circle on her path around the sun. Earth Mother is calling her children home. Light is returning, even though it is the darkest hour. No one can hold back the dawn. No one can hold back the dawn.
Would you please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice, which are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Those words mean so much, especially today. Now, my friends, both here in the sanctuary and for you watching at home, let us dare to believe. Let us believe that when the sun sets in just a few minutes, it seems, right? That it is the first night of a new world. It is, in fact, the first of many first nights along the spiral of time. And there have been many first nights before this one. Our spiral curves around the bends, bending but not repeating. It curves around to joys and to sorrows. It curves around to brokenness and to healing. It curves to everything we love, everything we lose, everything we regain when we remember. Let us huddle by the fire, waiting for day. But let us also explore the night and learn to see in the dark. Let us hear the songs that we thought that we had lost, and let us send tender shoots upward. Let us share in the faith of trees who shed their leaves each year, believing to their very core that spring will extend warm invitation to grow new ones. Let us be nourished by all that we have let fall away. Come, my friends, here and at home. I invite you at this time to rise as you are able and to make a line with keeping social distance in mind. You can make lines in each of the aisles here, and it's your invitation now to move through our Solstice Spiral. And Lisa is going to demonstrate. If you keep space between you and enter the spiral one at a time, walk to its center and choose a candle. Light it using the little button on the bottom and place it along the spiral in one of the glass jars, and then move out to fellowship outside this space and to the regifting sale. To those at home, we invite you to be with us now. To you at home, please raise a hand or rise in body and move through the spiral with us like this, because we are with you. We are one. Blessed be and happy solstice.
Your kids want to come down? They did? Oh, come on, you guys want to do it? Awesome. Elsa does, but Ben is not sure.
That's fine.
They were very interested in the regifting sale.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's fine.